9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Warning, warning. Danger, danger. A strange world is on Me TV.
A world somehow like ours, but of incredible darkness and fear.
What is the show called?
It has been called many different names by many different cultures.
Oh, I know. It's called Lost in Space. Saturday at 8, 7 Central on Me TV.
Hi, I'm John Mallos. On the program today, we have somebody from the American Red Cross talking about how you can donate and help the victims of Hurricane Sandy on the East Coast. They're still recovering. They will be for many days, many weeks, and many months. Your phone calls are very important. Area code 559-265-4331. Back in just a moment. And welcome back. Today we're talking about Hurricane Sandy that just wiped out the coast of New Jersey, of course, and left many people dead, many people homeless, many people without power still. The East Coast, New York City, and all along the coast there, along the eastern seaboard, they're still recovering tonight. It's just an amazing situation when you look at all those pictures of the devastation, like in Atlantic City and some of those coastal towns along New Jersey. Joining me here live on the studio right now is Jane Fortune from the Red Cross. Hi, Jane. Good to see you.
Good morning.
All right. How can people donate? How can people help out those victims on the East Coast?
It's very simple. You can do this by phone by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Okay.
You can go online to redcross.org. It's very simple. You can also, we have a local office right here in Fresno, and you can either call in or you can mail in a donation to our office.
All right. How many people do you have on staff here at the local office in the Fresno, Madera / Central Valley area?
Well, we only have 13 staff members, but we extend from the Merced, Mariposa area all the way down through Kern County. So we cover the entire valley.
And how many people have you sent to the East Coast personally from here?
We have 5 volunteers right now that have deployed. They're probably deploying today and tomorrow. So it's a large number.
And what are their jobs? What will they be doing?
2 of them will be doing mass care and feeding. One of them will be doing a mental health and...
What does that mean, mass care and feeding? What does that mean specifically?
That is the care and feeding in all of our shelters.
Okay.
So, and we have over 200 shelters open on the East Coast.
They'll be providing food for these victims.
Right, correct. We have actually 12 mobile kitchens that have been deployed in the area. So we are serving upwards of close to 200,000 meals and snacks every day.
Yeah, but the Red Cross is asking for money, not food donations, right?
Yeah, yes, they are.
Why can't they donate food, like a loaf of bread or something?
Because we really have no way to transport it. And what they really need is they need the money to be able to buy what the services are that they need back there. So we're asking to please donate either cash or check or credit card so that we can get them exactly what they do need.
Right, okay. We're talking with Jane Fortune of the Red Cross. We're going to be back in just a moment here on Connect with Me. She is our first guest today. Later on, we're going to be talking to John Hernandez. He is running for office. He's running for Congress, of course, against David Valadao. John will be here to talk about that. But first, your phone call is important, 265-4331. We'll be back in a moment with our conversation with Jane Fortune.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the low-price leading brands reliable advice place. The Whirlpool Dream Kitchen Get Yours Today place. Check this out. Right now, get huge savings on select Whirlpool appliances and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
And welcome back. We're talking about how to help the victims of Hurricane Sandy on the East Coast. Jane Fortune is my guest here. So those victims will no doubt get and see the relief if you donate money to the Red Cross.
Yes, absolutely.
That money will stay with the Red Cross.
Absolutely.
All right, we've got to talk about also scammers at this stage of the game, because there are plenty of them. Let's take this phone call real quick. Hi, good morning. You're on Connect with me. Who's this?
Hi, this is Joey Hernandez calling with the Better Business Bureau.
Hi, Joey. We're talking about, of course, Hurricane Sandy and some of the victims out there, but let me ask you, Joey, some of the people that are hurting right now, many people around the country are looking at these victims on television and they want to help. Do they have to be careful of scammers?
Definitely, absolutely. When topical events like this come up, when things happen local in your area or in the nation, you're always going to have a group of scammers that come on board and really do try to take advantage of the situation.
What do you specifically have to look out for?
Well, we always say to check online with the BBB Wise Giving. You want to evaluate your charity first and make sure that it is a legitimate charity and an organization, and find out exactly what the money and the donations are going to, where they're going to be going to. You also want to be wary of claims that 100% of donations will assist the relief victims, because despite what any organization might claim, charities are going to have fundraising and administrative costs. So it's not always going to be 100%.
Okay, hang on the phone there, Joey. Don't go away. Is that true? 100% will not go to the victims. Some will go to administrative costs for the Red Cross?
The Red Cross has a record of 93 cents of every dollar that goes directly to the program.
Okay, is that pretty much across the board?
Yes, absolutely across the board. That's not true of every charity. So we have a very high rating, and the reason we're able to do that is because we have so many volunteers that are on the ground, and they're providing a lot of these services.
How many volunteers on the ground on the East Coast would you say from the Red Cross?
Right now,
roughly speaking.
Roughly speaking, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
There's almost 3,500 volunteers on the ground right now.
Okay. Joey, let me ask you, if you get an email or something in the mail that says, hey, fill this out, give us your credit card number, and we'll make sure that your money goes to the victims. Should that be a red flag?
Absolutely, absolutely. There are going to be some legitimate charities that will solicit donations that way. However, for the most part, we always advise you not to give out any information, especially personal information like that, if you're not the person initiating the donating or the contact. And I want to say, in response to the first question, it's great that they have an on-ground presence in that impacted. The Red Cross has an on-ground presence, because that's another check that we want. Another thing we want you to check on and make sure that they do have that on-ground presence. And it sounds to me like Red Cross is doing everything that they need to be doing, and they should be doing to be, a charity that is of value and they have a great reputation. Yeah,
well, they got many thousands of people on the ground right now, as Jane said. I want to roll some videotape. Alex Taylor, our director, pulled some tape off the internet of some of the devastation there. We've all seen it before, but look at this. It's amazing what has happened to the East Coast just through one hurricane. It's Hurricane Sandy. This is the Jersey shoreline, of course, just taking the biggest hit. And Jane, let me ask you, I mean, when the Red Cross comes in, a situation like this, I mean, you have people that have been displaced. They're going to be homeless for many weeks, perhaps months. What do you do with families like that?
Well, we work with many agencies, including the Salvation Army, many church-related groups, and so the Red Cross is the first responder, but then we work with all the other agencies to make sure that they get what they need.
Where do they live in the meantime until their home or their apartment building gets rebuilt?
They're living in shelters. They're living in the Red Cross
shelters.
For months
on end.
Hopefully we will be able to move them into a facility before that, happens.
Yeah, and the Red Cross will be on the ground. Look at this video here. This is all sand. Inundated those homes, those neighborhoods, home by home, neighborhood by neighborhood. It's amazing. I know that in New York City alone, There were many thousands and perhaps millions of people out of power, of course. 22 to 24 people, I believe, are dead in New York City. But the devastation here, look at some of these homes. It's simply amazing. I know that LaGuardia Airport in New York City opened up. That's in Queens. They opened up 2 runways. Newark and JFK opened up partially yesterday. The waves hitting higher than 14 feet. Something that hasn't happened before.
No, this is one of the worst national disasters that we've ever suffered through, and it'll be months and months while the cleanup is taking place.
Yeah, and that's New Brunswick, New Jersey, some of the shelters that your people are in right now, Jane.
That's right.
Yeah. Joey, you're still on the phone? Are you there?
I am there. I'm here, yes.
What kind of response are you getting from people? Any calls coming into your Better Business Bureau center there regarding Hurricane Sandy or any other disaster in the last couple of days?
Yes, we have, and we always, as I said at the beginning, we always advise them to check our BBB Wise Giving, which is bbb.org/charity, and that gives a list of all of the organizations and charities that they can give to that have accredited by the BBB and have met the 20 standards for charity accountability. But also, we advise them of online solicitations, as you mentioned, because with today's technology, a website can literally be built in an hour, mimicking a legitimate charitable organization. And it's, a lot of times for the sole purpose of scamming individuals that want to give. And so we always let them know to be very wary of spam messages and emails that claim to link to a relief organization. Always go directly to the organization. Don't wait for it to come to you.
With the calls that you've gotten, what's the number one concern, Joey?
How they can give their money safely.
Yeah.
How to donate safely.
And they can. Jane, the phone number one more time is what?
1-800-RED-CROSS.
Okay, and you got some apps here. I'll let you go ahead and describe the apps that you can get for your cell phone or your iPad or anything else.
These are some great apps, and you can go to iPhone or the Android and download for free the Hurricane app. And on that app, there is a button that you can push that says, I am safe, just to let people know that you are safe. There's also a first aid app, and again, these are free. You need them on your phone now so that you can be prepared for that emergency.
And one of the huge problems, of course, for many of the victims on the East Coast is they have no place to recharge their cell phone or their iPad, so it's hard to get in touch with some people.
Yes, it is hard. You can, the phones are very hard right now, and they suggest not using them. That's why the only phone that they can use are landlines, and that is your pay phone. Does anybody know where the nearest pay phone is?
Right.
If they're even in existence.
Payphones are kind of the thing of the past now, of course. It's like the Stone Age now.
They are, but that's the vital role for them.
Now, one of the things that I heard on the news earlier today, and I was reading on the internet, is Hoboken, New Jersey. I've been there many times. I used to live on the East Coast. You have frail nerves right now because people have been without power for a couple of days now. Food supply is running short. Is the Red Cross going to go into Hoboken?
They are going into all of these neighborhoods as soon as it is safe to get into the neighborhood. But people are returning very slowly. They have to be careful of the water. They have to be careful of the down power lines.
Many people stranded in apartments, in their homes.
In their homes. So everyone
with no
has to
food.
And no electricity.
Right.
So the food in your refrigerator is also at risk.
It's spoiled by now.
It's spoiled. So all of these people are going to need relief. So the Red Cross is going door to door and checking for your neighbors.
Yeah. Okay.
Make sure they're okay.
We got to go to a commercial break and bring our next guest on, but I want to thank Joey. Are you still there?
I am. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, and thank you to the Red Cross for doing such great work.
Okay, Joey Hernandez of the Better Business Bureau on the phone. Give our best to Blair Looney over there at the Better Business Bureau. And Jane Fortune from the Red Cross. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. The phone number one more time before we go to commercial.
1-800-RED-CROSS.
Okay, Jane. Best of luck to you. I know it's been a busy last few days, all week long, and it will be continuing to be busy for many weeks to come for the Red Cross. We're back with more. Hey, our next guest here on Connect with Me, John Hernandez, running for Congress. He wants your vote. I would imagine he may want to take a phone call or two also. 265-4331.
You tell me who I am.
They called you West.
Jim West.
Mr. West.
West!
Well, my name is James West.
A truly great man.
Brilliant.
Secret Service agent.
What's
What's next? Come on, I'm waiting.
Man of action. He's James West.
Where's Jim West?
On the Wild Wild West. Weekdays at 4, 3 Central on MeTV.
Fasten your bones and let's twizzle.
Weeknights, do the twizzle with me.
Everybody, start in doing the twizzle. Everybody, if you're ready to sizzle, you twist a little and you twist a lot. And when you really get hot, that's the twizzle. Twizzle, twizzle.
Weeknights starting at 9, 8 Central on MeTV.
And welcome back to Connect with Me. We are here with our second guest of the day. He is John Hernandez, running for Congress. He wants your vote. He says he does, and he probably wants to take a phone call from you. 265-4331 is the number. John, good to see you. Welcome to the program.
Great to be here, John.
All right, your second time here. David Valadao is the man you're running against.
Correct.
Now, I put out several phone calls or contacts to David Valadao. Did not want to appear here on the program with you, so you're here alone.
We're here, yes,
yourself.
definitely. Hey, that's no problem. Like I said, is he backed out of the debate in Kern County too. So
oh, he
okay.
did.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, you know what? It's very interesting. It's called the Great Debate, and he showed up there, and he didn't want to debate. So interesting. All the other candidates
He's ahead
debated.
in some of the polls, though, from what you showed me.
Actually, it's a statistical tie right now.
Well, 41 to 37.
Yes.
In one of the polls that we saw online.
Which is within the margin of error.
Yeah, now give me the district boundaries as to what this congressional race entails.
Okay, one thing I wanted to point out, though, about that poll also, we have top lines also on the president and Romney. The president's up by 11 points in our district, too.
Right, but it's only in that district. So,
Yeah.
so give me the boundaries.
The boundaries are, you're looking at Fireball in the north, San Joaquin, Mendota, those areas. You're going into Kerman, also a little bit of Caldwell, Malaga down south of Fresno. Then we get Sanger, Fowler, Parlier, Selma, and then on top of that, Kingsburg. Then we have all of Kings County. All of Kings County is in, and then we have in Kern County we have Delano, Shafter, Wasco.
How much of Kern County does it cover?
It covers a good chunk of Kern County. We have
Okay.
Delano, Shafter, Wasco. We swing around, get southeast Bakersfield, Lamont, and Arvin.
Okay. This district, though, I mean, you know, David Valadao is a farmer. He's
Sure.
got probably a good backing from the farmers.
Yes.
That's a tough thing to beat, and especially when you've got that kind of money backing him. He's got thousands upon thousands of dollars in his coffers. You have less money than him. How do you expect to beat him?
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing that I've learned how to do at the CEO of the Central California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is turn $1 into $3. And that's what we've been doing. We've been competing with him. That's why we're in a statistical tie with him coming down the polls. We're getting some outside help from other members of Congress coming in to help us. But on top of that, we've registered another 15,000 voters over the summer. We didn't stop. We continued to campaign, registered another 15,000 voters, and now our voter registration advantage went from 11% to almost now 16%. So there's 16% almost more Democrats than Republicans in the 24th
All right, you're a Democrat, Valadao's a Republican.
Yes.
I've seen the ads on the air. You've seen the ads on the air. Many of our viewers have. By the way, the phone number here is 265-4331 if you want to call in. I want to go over this chapter and verse. You're a Democrat.
Yes.
Here's the rap on you if you get elected. You're against a middle-class tax cut. You favor an increase on taxes to the middle class. Yes or no?
No. No,
Not true?
Not true. These things, if you go to Crossroads GPS, type it into your Google, you're going to see that they've made the same ad for over 8 or 9 different races all across the country. They've just substituted different people. This is the problem with Citizens United. Citizens United has opened the floodgates.
So you're telling me that this is an outright bold-faced lie?
A bold-faced lie. And it says I'm against small businesses. I'm the CEO of the Central California Hispanic Chamber.
All right.
I'm
It
not
says
against small
the ad
businesses.
also says you're against marriage penalty relief.
What the hell is that? I'm sorry about that, but I don't understand that. You know, it doesn't make any sense. Marriage penalty relief. And it says it's my tax plan. I don't have a tax plan.
It
on
also
my
says you're
website.
against reducing the death tax.
I don't understand that.
You're
No,
not? So
I
you're
don't know.
denying all these
Yeah,
charges.
these are just things that are plucked out of the
So what would you like to do to help the middle class? Cut their taxes?
Yes, we need to have middle class tax relief, and on top of that, we need to get more middle class jobs. I want to build the middle class.
And to do that, you do what?
What we do is we work with small businesses. That's what I do for a living. We got to get the small business sector generating more jobs. We also have to do public-private partnerships, and other things we need to do is make sure that our kids are graduating with the skills they need to get the jobs that are going to be available over the next decade. That's the key.
All right, Ventura TV, the place that we broadcast this show from, okay, we've been here since April, is considered perhaps a small business, maybe a medium-sized business. We've been here since 1951. Would you want to raise taxes on a small business like this?
We've got to buy local. That's what we have to do.
No. Would you want to raise taxes on a business like this?
No, we do not want to raise taxes on business like this. We want to provide tax credits. That's what we want to provide.
All right.
That's critical.
Okay.
And just keep in mind that small businesses have gotten back over $1 billion, back from the federal government over the last 2 years, roughly.
Right. Okay. Now you get into Congress. Let's say you're elected. Let's say, just for the sake of argument, you're elected. Now you're moving into a Congress that's dominated by Republicans. How much do you think you can get done?
Well, I'll tell you what, John. The key here is I think we got to look at this in a pragmatic way. There's a lot you can do in the district where you don't have to get approval from Congress. Things like appointing students to West Point, things like appointing students to the Air Force Academy and Annapolis, things like working with public-private partnerships to increase education and on job fairs, things of that sort are ways that we can get those
how do you do those
done.
things without the approval of Congress?
What we do is we work privately. We work with partners. You know, like I've been CEO of the Central California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for 7 years.
So you're talking about private dollars. You're not talking about tax dollars.
Private, public. Like I said, this is a good example of how this works. We do the largest job fair in the Valley with the Department of Social Services here in Fresno County and the Economic Development Corporation, the Central California Hispanic Chamber does. And we have a job fair every year in March. It's at the fairgrounds. We have over 200 employers, 2,000 job openings, and on top of that, we get about 1,300.
How many of those people actually get hired?
About 1,300 get hired by the end of this job fair, basically.
And you sponsor it.
There's 12,000 people who show up for the job
Now,
fair.
the district that you're representing, which takes up a good chunk of Kern County, like you said, parts of Kings County, what's the #1 issue in that county?
The number
or in
one
that
issue,
district, I should say.
It's jobs, jobs, jobs. My campaign theme is jobs first. You can go to johnhernandez2012.com and you can see my commercials. My commercials are focused on real issues that we have in the Valley.
But government doesn't create jobs.
Well, I'll tell you what it does is it sets the table in order for job creation to happen. In the form of, let's say, for instance, public, like if we're building more schools. We're basically building more schools rather than prisons. We don't need to build any more prisons. We need to build more schools. We need to build more water infrastructure. There's going to be people who are going to be working on these big projects, middle-class jobs, to build these water structures, to build the dams, to do the 2 tunnels project. I support the 2 tunnels project, and I also support the water bond that's on the initiative coming up in 2 years.
You support high-speed rail?
I do.
Why?
I support high-speed rail.
A lot of people say it's nothing but a boondoggle.
I am a son of a railroader. I know what good railroad jobs can do for communities. I'm a product of that.
But people are saying it's too costly. We can't afford it.
Well, it's more costly to build more roads and also more costly to build more airports than it is to build rail. Rail is a fraction of that cost, and also it's going to help us compete on the Pacific Rim with China, India, and Japan. And on top of that, it's also going to allow us to capitalize, and I mean capitalize, on travel and tourism. We have some great national parks here in our district, and I'll tell you what, people are going to come. They come already. They're coming via bus. I see them every week. There's a bunch of Chinese and Koreans that come. They stop at Manchester Center on their way up to Yosemite, and we want to make sure that they could take that high-speed rail.
Right.
Who says they can't fly straight into Fresno and then go there rather than flying into?
Each district around the country gets discretionary money from the federal government.
Sure.
What's your plan to do with that money? What would you say is the right thing to do with that discretionary money?
The right thing to do is to get more jobs and economic activity.
How do you do that with that money?
Well, I'll tell you what we need to do is they need to champion our small business community, our local working people, people here in the district need a champion that's going to go out and talk to people. That's what I do as CEO of the Central California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I go out and I talk to businesses. I talk to large companies. I talk to community groups. We get them activated and we get them working in our community. And that's what's going to make things happen in this district. I will not rest until we have single-digit unemployment in this.
All right, let me read some numbers to you. President Obama's been in 4 years now. The total debt for the country, $16 trillion. Just for this fiscal year alone, it's going to be more than $2 trillion. Well, actually, it's going to be more than $5 trillion. The United States tax revenue, all right, is over $2 trillion. The federal budget is over $3 million. That means that we're taking in over $2 trillion a year, but we're spending more than $3 trillion. We're spending more than we're taking in. How do you fix that?
Well, what we have to do, this is what we have to do. We have to get our economy roaring again like it was in the 1990s. That's the key, what we got to do. It takes time to get there. We're getting there. It is getting there. Like, for instance, GM is now #1 in the world again. That's a good thing.
How do you, I mean, in your household, do you spend more than you make?
Well, you know, I think almost every household does. It's called credit cards. And the one
why
thing,
should the federal government
the one thing we
do
did
that?
is we made a mistake back in the early 2000s. We had a surplus. We were in a position of a surplus when the President Bush came in, and now we're in a deficit. The problem is that we spent money on the wrong things. I think those who are in the 1%,
but since
but
in the last 4 years,
those tax cuts cost money. 2 wars that were unpaid for and not put on the books.
Yes, but just since
money.
President Obama came in, the deficit has increased by $5 trillion more dollars.
What we got to realize that the first year that President came in, keep in mind they're still working on the Bush budget that year.
Yes, but it increased by $5 trillion since he's been in.
We had to save the auto industry. They had to bail out the banks. Bush administration bailed out the banks, and we had to go with cash infusions.
But you can only take that argument so far. Okay, the previous administration, every president comes in that has problems from the previous administration. You have to get over that and not add to the debt that's already there. Am I right?
Well, the bottom line is this, is that we are in the greatest economic downturn that we've had since the Great Depression.
Right.
We need to put that in perspective. And also, we've had several things that have happened here in the United States that have caused us to also increase spending. If you look at President Bush, he had the largest expansion of government in the whole history of the United States of America.
Right.
That happened under the
I guess my
Republican
point is every
administration.
president inherits something from the previous administration. That's part of the gig.
Is
it not?
It is. And one thing that I think voters need to think about is this, is what about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid? These are critical programs that serve our elderly and our disabled and our veterans. What are we going to do about those things? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do about those things.
Quickly, because
I'm going to hold the line.
Cut off.
I'm going to hold the line on those things. David Valadao wants to privatize them and give vouchers to seniors. I'm not going for that. That's not going to work.
How do they get in touch with you? Phone number, quickly. We got 10 seconds.
559-709-8139 if you want to volunteer. JohnHernandez2012.com.
Good to see you. Good luck on the campaign trail. Always good to see you, John.
It's great to be here with you.
John Hernandez running for Congress. That's going to do it for us today on Connect with Me. Be back tomorrow. You know who's going to be here? Mike Reynolds, the author of 3 Strikes and what's going on with that proposition. We'll see you then.
Station 51. Station 51. Television is in dire need of help. Emergency. Paramedics John Gage and Roy DeSoto, please report to MeTV immediately.
LA, Squad 51.
Dr. Brackett and Nurse McCall are awaiting your arrival.
Please stay with me. Just this one thing. It's very important.
Emergency.
Man, I never thought anybody'd find me here.
Fire department, stat. What's the address?
On MeTV, weekdays at 5, 4 Central.
10-4.
It's time to play the Hi Bob game. Simply watch the Bob.
Oh, I wanted to hear what that lady said.
As I was saying, simply watch the Bob Newhart show and count how many times people say Hi Bob.
Well, why don't we start things off?
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bacon.
Sorry, try again.
Darn it.
Everybody loves the Hi Bob game.
This is the greatest game I've ever seen.
Weeknights at 10:30, 9:30 Central on MeTV.